and welcome to this special edition Agile Humans Birthday Meetup. I really want to welcome you all on behalf of Agile Humans and to say thank you for your time this evening and to share this Thursday with us, to celebrate and to learn something new. And we are here to relax, and let me just assume that everyone here is a bit tired from work, and we're going to just relax, take like a cup of coffee. I have like a gallon of tea here, so we're going to relax and just enjoy, and feel free to ask questions, feel free to participate, and just enjoy. I'm going to introduce now our dear speaker, and she is an amazing Scrum and Agile trainer and Agile coach, and she will be talking about career paths in Agile and about our next logical steps. And we are so very thankful to her that she decided to participate and to be our special edition speaker for this event. Evelyn Tian. Evelyn, the floor is yours.
Okay, great. Thank you for the introduction, Maria. Okay, so good evening. I think look like most of you, or all of you maybe, are joining from European time zone. And so that will be good evening. So welcome to join the session. Thank you for spending the time with us. And then today we'll be discussing about what's next. And then that is normally after people start to work with Agile a little bit, start to naturally wonder, what's next for me? I heard about all these new roles with regards to Scrum Master, Product Owner, all of that. And what's the best for me? So that's the topic we'll be discussing about. But before we do that, naturally that we want to do an introduction. So who is she? So here, a very short snapshot view of myself. I always joke, I always say, when you see me, you see diversity. I'm a Chinese Canadian from Montreal, Quebec, but I'm living in Stockholm, Sweden. So I always joke about the diversity part when I speak at international conferences. Normally, before I used to do it 2 to 3 times per day, but the COVID help us in a way to shorten the distance. So with virtual sessions, so I did 6 keynote sessions last year, and I always joke about the fact that when I speak at a conference, and then literally the conference has speaker from Sweden, Canada, and China. So now let's go back to who am I. I coach organization, and also I run workshops on Scrum, product, and Agile leadership. And I also mentor practitioners such as Agile coaches, product owners, and leaders who want to go further to the next level. And that's done normally through either training, mentoring, or coaching programs. So I have been doing that since 2017. And as of today, I have mentees from over 76 countries. I'm not so good with the geography, so sometimes I have to check on the map to see, okay, that country, where exactly that's located. And at the same time, I also serve as advisor to IEEE software board. For some of you probably, if you're in the area of electrical engineering, you know that's the largest international professional organization for electronic engineers. So my focus is on Agile and large-scale development. And also, I'm also currently serving as board of directors to the Scrum Alliance. And of course, that will come with a disclaimer. So everything I speak about today represents only my personal opinion only, does not represent the Scrum Alliance or the Scrum Alliance board. And then I have been working, maybe I should whisper also, almost for 30 years now. So I've been working in a large organization where I have had the opportunity growing myself on different roles. So if I do with Agile, we always talk about end-to-end. If I do this end-to-end counting. So I worked with a product management, the business part, the product part, and work with project management and the system architect, work as a software developer and the system integrator, troubleshooter for problems for customers, and also work as R&D manager. And then just now, Maria and I were chatting and she was asking me, how did you get started with Agile Coaching? I started to work with Scrum back in 2006. Tried the role of product owner and also then work as a Scrum Master. For some of you, if you have both Scrum Master and product owner role on your head, I tried that too. I know how you feel. And then in 2009, I was trained by my previous employer, Ericsson, as an Agile coach, because Ericsson decided to use internal employee who understand the company's technology, culture, structure, and everything to help with the organization transformation effort. So they were looking for people with end-to-end background. And I was one of not so many with enough curiosity to try everything. So therefore, I have been working as an Agile coach since 2009. And then I was a bit bored after work with telecom for so long. And then by that time, I was heading Ericsson Global Transformation Support Center, supporting the whole company. As you know, the company has over 100,000 employees with business in over 183 countries back then. And so I was traveling a lot and also in telecom field. And I just thought maybe I should try explore other field. So then I left the company in 2017. I founded my company in Sweden. And then I've been supporting companies in other industries such as German automotive industry, banking, financial services, and airline, insurance, pharmaceutical companies, which is a lot of learning experience, as you can imagine. Yeah, so that is approximately who I am, and you're very welcome to connect with me. And then after the talk as well, if you're interested with Agile, with product, with Agile coaching, and I think about it all the time. So you're more than welcome to contact me. And then today that we want to make it special for you. So therefore, topics, as you see, is empty. Empty because we want to actually make it more valuable for you. So therefore, if you could actually use, now let me send it to you. Now, okay, here. There's a link where you can, it's a polling where you can start to enter what's most interesting for you. So now if you could join, and then, so it's about next steps, about our development, about the growth path, but of course depends a lot on what's your background, what are you doing currently, and what topics are you mostly interested in. So if you could click on the link, and then that will allow you to be able to find the different options. And it's a multiple choice, so you can select all of them if you want to, just to find out what's the most commonly interested topic, and I'm going to start to talk about it. Yep. So how about if we do it for about 30 seconds or also, just in case that the internet speed is not fast, so let's wait a little bit, then I'm going to take a look. Yeah. And then at the same time, it will be nice because for today's session, I'm trying to make that as interactive session. So therefore, there will be breakout room exercise and so on. So you could have some networking. And so if you can turn on your video, as we know, when we're interacting with people, 55% of the message is not carried by your words, but rather by the part people can see, which is your facial expression and your posture. So therefore, it will be definitely very helpful if you turn on your video so that the interaction can be more effective. So thank you for doing that. Okay, great. Okay, so how about if we do it slightly for another 10 seconds? I still see content coming in. And we still have a few people who didn't vote yet. Okay.
Some of us are interested in everything. Next steps for every part.
You click all of them. Okay. So it has not been moving for a little while. So then if we just briefly share the results, and then you could see. Okay. So you could see clearly the winner is the first one. Next step for Agile Coaches. The second one follows is about the next steps for Agile Coaches, and it's about manager and also about product owner. So then we're going to get started, start to look into Scrum Masters. Yeah. And then, so actually it was a tricky question because some of you probably are wondering, what is the difference between Scrum Master and Agile Coaches? It certainly depends a lot on your own role definition, but in general, globally, normally when we say I'm working as a Scrum Master, that means I'm at least I have one team I'm caring for. So that is normally when we say I'm a Scrum Master. And however, what happened is that some company also have their Scrum Master also named Agile Coach, which could be confusing. But however, if we talk about the global standard, normally when we say an Agile Coach, normally they work with multiple teams, they work at organization level. However, you could see if you start to have a conversation, there might be an Agile coach out there who's actually our definition of Scrum Master. And also we know in terms of competence and skills, that's quite similar. So now let's take a look. Yeah. I know we have been having a lot of meetup session before. So therefore, if I just jump into immediately about Scrum Master and Agile Coach, if we take a quick look at the skill sets that ideally we have. As we know, based on your learning so far as Scrum Master or Agile Coach, one thing that's always important is to be able to really be the master of a Scrum framework. You really know Scrum framework, so therefore also about teaching competence. So therefore, you will see teaching as part of the competence that ideally that will be something I can do. And also mentoring, because it's not, you take a public class that's 1 day or 2 days. And then after that, what happens is, as a Scrum Master, as an Agile Coach, you need to make sure after theory, you need to help the team to be able to, while they're holding on the ownership, that they're able to be able to apply that to their day-to-day work. For instance, I taught my product owner how to prioritize different method, different prioritization method. And then what happened? And then the product owner goes back, no matter how I try to make theory to practice more to real life. However, when the product owner start to work with real products, still have a lot of trouble because there are just so many things to evaluate. So therefore mentoring, while the product owner holding on to the ownership of being able to prioritize, and we as Scrum Master, Agile Coaches, we mentor them. And then of course, facilitating, as well as you can imagine, different Scrum events, that's just really the basic. There's also possibly a product owner struggles a lot with different stakeholders. And then stakeholders, some of them want to go left, some of them want to go up and down, and they're pulling our product left and right. So therefore, I might help my product owner with a stakeholder workshop to be able to align. Are we going left? Are we going right? So therefore, facilitating skills can be very important. And then, of course, many of you probably have also started to feel the importance of learning about professional coaching skill. That is, if we just use product owner as an example, my product owner learned about Scrum, learned about product ownership, and with my help, my product owner is functioning properly almost as a product owner. However, we also know there's always a continuous improvement opportunity. So therefore, rather than me going there to tell my product owner, you know, you need to learn to improve how you prioritize. However, now what happened? I could use professional coaching skill, help my product owner to build better awareness of the situation, start to generate some more insight, start to feel, yeah, you know, that is happening. That is because I could improve the way I prioritize the product, and so on, so that the product owner has incentive, has intrinsic desire to start to improve on that. And also with that better awareness, product owner might even be able to come up with something of his or her own. So therefore, that is about professional coaching. So for us as Agile coaches, as Scrum Master, we should grow our toolboxes. We have a lot of stuff in our toolboxes, and also we know exactly why and when and how to use each of the tools. So therefore, in the situation, I'm working with my product owner, and then maybe he worked really hard. He found maybe possible 2 actions moving forward. And maybe at that moment, and then I realized more possibly 2 tools, 2 practice in my toolbox, it can be helpful. So then I certainly can also present and share that with the product owner. The product owner now have 2 of his own plus 2 new ones, and then the product owner evaluate, and then with my help, again, see the situation better, maybe come up with a hybrid solution of his own. So therefore, that's about professional coaching skill. And then I know many of you probably have read the book from Lisa Atkins about coaching Agile team, and also their definition about Agile coaching. You know, these are the 4. I also noticed that consulting is something new. That is something I find that's really helpful when we're working with our organization, either as an external coach or even as an internal coach. Give you a quick example. Assume that you're working in this organization, and they might have been working with Scrum for quite some time, either as external coach or as a internal employee. And then possibly people, after trying for a little while, that we have been working this way before. It has been, let's say, a year, 2 years, we have been trying it. Possibly people start to feel a little bit frustrated, and also we have to really improve, change how we work. And some people might even be wondering, why are we doing it, and so on. So certainly that depends a lot how the organization gets started and so on. But in general, possibly the situation could be the energy level is quite low. Team are feeling, we have to work with Scrum, we have to deliver every 2 weeks, we have to build an increment that has value and also that's not empty. And then everybody is taking advantage of that, pushing a lot of things to us. Therefore, in that situation, rather than start to go into either teaching, mentoring, or facilitating, or live along professional coaching, possibly with my past experience, I can go into consulting stance. That is, I could find some low-hanging fruits when I start to know the situation, so that I could give a couple suggestions with very high return on investment, and at the same time rather low-hanging, so that we can generate some positive energy. People gradually start to feel, oh, this is not too bad. So the energy level, maybe we're this low, with your health a little bit lower, a little bit higher, and then that would definitely be very helpful. So therefore, consulting can be very helpful as well. And then you notice also that I have this balancing board, because before COVID, when I was have always been using Zoom, I've been using that since 2017, running my mentoring program. When I mentor, I always say, as an Agile coach, we evaluate the situation. And then during COVID, I normally try to exercise. I try to exercise a little bit more during COVID. So I was standing. I have a balancing board under my desk. Sometimes I stand up. I just stand on my balancing board. So I start to tell the coaches and mentor, it's like an agile coach, a Scrum Master is like the lady, or possibly gender neutral. You see, there's also a male coach as well. We stand on a balancing board and assessing the situation. For instance, maybe I switch to teaching and realize, oh, everybody seems to know why we're doing it. They just bump their head, not knowing how to do it. Maybe then I switch quickly, maybe a little bit to mentoring. Or maybe possibly I started with facilitating. I think they're doing good at facilitate. And then I realized, oh no, there's quite a few golden opportunity at this moment. Then timing is important. Maybe again, I quickly switch to consulting. And then the moment that is achieved, I switch back again because I know facilitating and particularly professional coaching can be more powerful if the context is right. So therefore, that will be the metaphor for us as an agile coach. We literally stand on the balancing board all the time. And then, so therefore, talking about growth paths, that will be, these are the areas first we want to grow. And then the second one would be, okay, I grow all these different areas. Where do I utilize my skills? Where do I utilize all of these? I try go very deep. I'm so good with teaching now. I'm so good with everything. Where do I use it? And then there are different areas to use it. Now you have to get prepared. I will show you a long list of places you can use it that also indicate how we can grow ourselves as well. And that is apparently the wrong part. Let's see. So then there are many different areas we can travel to. So these are the different areas. So now let's zoom into Scrum Master. So as a Scrum Master, most likely when you first get started, you worry about your Scrum team. So therefore, Scrum developers quite a bit. And then at the same time, what happened? You start to, my product owner possibly. And then now when you start to become more comfortable working as Scrum Master, at the same time, your team is growing. That will allow you to be able to shift your focus a little bit more. That's part of your growth as a Scrum Master. And then therefore you can start to focus more, if not so much yet on your product owner, shift more to product owner. And you also know there's a product behind your product owner. So therefore you want to focus also more on the product as well. And that is helping your product owner. For instance, maybe your product owner could be basic work such as prioritization, doesn't know, what type of product we have, and whether, for instance, a product with very high lock-in or very low. Should we go to the market earlier or later, wait for competitors, and then also what's the best way to prioritize our product, and so on. So in short, product owner first, and then start to shift more to the product itself. How is our product currently doing? How aligned or not with regard to product owner and our stakeholder? And also, what are the situation with regards to our product strategy? Do we have a strategy? Do we have a shared strategy? Do we continuously innovate our product strategy? And what's the situation, our product roadmap? And you see, there's a long list of that. And that can be also another area that we can start to utilize. So we travel now with our balancing board. As you see, these are definitely from basic area developers, certainly all Scrum Masters start with that. So gradually start to shift. That's how we gradually grow. However, a matter of time, you will surely start to realize, possibly for yourself as well, I used to be a developer and now I'm a Scrum Master. What's my next step? So therefore, as you see, it's just a matter of time for you start to wonder what's your step. Depends a lot on your company's situation, whether there's the involvement of human resource. So how are they supporting the growth of different new roles? And even including developers. Again, assume, let's say, one of you assume Greg is a developer, right? Like it used to be focusing, however, specialists with testing. And then what happened? Now in this Scrum team expect him to be T-shaped, help out a little bit here and there. And however, if your organization is still measuring Greg based on how deep his knowledge is, how much he's drawing on testing competence, now he's going to be very confused. Do I go deeper? Do I go wider? And then as you see, that happens to everybody. So therefore, that is the first part about human resource. That is, how do they support our organization? Then for you, once there are topic as such, is an area possibly you can start to support as well. That's the first dimension. And certainly, you know, human resource need to improve how they work as well. So that is the second part potentially that can be in the picture. And then depends, of course, the industry you're in. Some industry has very strong outsourcing culture. So it's like, oh, we don't build anything. We don't have any, we don't have developers. We only have product owners. So therefore that'll be, if that's the situation, either entirely fully outsourced or partially. So it's just, again, matter of time, you know, you need to work with supply and also sourcing. How do we work with Agile? How do we best support the way we work now, which is different from before? Yeah. And then also marketing. We have, for instance, even in the afternoon session, I was running coaching session, and then my client has a very good situation, which is marketing team has a lot of contracts coming in. And then developers try so hard, couldn't fulfill it. It's a good problem, isn't it? It's like, and then it's more, how do we work with that situation if that happens? So therefore, marketing area, what is our product strategy? How do we work with marketing? How do we get support from marketing for the success of our product? All of that are also part of the picture as well. Again, matter of time, situation-based leadership team. And that is, as an Agile coach, as a Scrum Master, we can work so hard. However, what happened? It's just a matter of time. If you have command and control or control freak leaders, and then they will come in, and then they don't even need to spend too long with your team. Maybe just 2 minutes, 5 minutes, and you were here already with the team, and then they might actually be backtracked. If I give you a simple example, that's a time actually I remember so well because it triggered me to really reflect, and then just focus on the team is good, but I need to improve and focus more. What happened was that I would assume all of us, one way or the other, at least we know about the burn down chart. Yeah. So back years ago, like 2007, 08, and 09, a lot of teams are using burn down chart, particularly back then. Larger product tend to have a longer sprint as well. So then I was coaching at that time 11 teams, and one team out of the 11, and we were working with 3-week sprint. And then that team, one of them, they call themselves, you know, vitamin C, they call it VC team. So that team they said, you know what, hey, Evelyn, we don't think we need burn down chart. And then it's like, to me, fantastic, isn't it? As an Agile coach, we know that's clearly good. Yeah, and that is because it's just an output we're spending time and energy to produce. Your customer will not be paying for. We know in Agile, we focus on outcome, output we try to minimize. So to me, fantastic. So I was fully supportive to them. And then their manager came in not long after. And the manager said, all the other teams are using burn down chart. You guys decided not to use it. If anything happens, do you know what happened? Quickly, they look at each other. They start to say, okay, we're going to use burn down chart. And do you know what they do? They only updated the very last day at the time of the ending of the sprint because they find it's no value. So therefore, that's the moment I realized I was going to use that team as a role model team. And then I start to see fallback of their behavior because leaders. So therefore, leadership team, matter of time, again, certainly the earlier, the better. And then that will be another area. So, and then working with managers may not be the easiest thing to do. Yeah. So it requires quite a bit of experience and different tools, and also the type of work they're working with, so that you will actually, you are able to work with them. Yeah. And then also there is another bubble that is about organization, and organization level, we always talk about culture and structure. I intentionally make that small. They are definitely important. However, there is also strategy as well. So too many organizations, they focus on making their organization, oh, let's work with Scrum, everything will be good. Oh, I heard about Kanban, let's work with it, everything will be fantastic. And there's also the part that's called the strategy as well. So what's our organization's strategy, and where exactly are we going? We can have the best teams in the world. If we go into the wrong direction, it's not going to be so good. So therefore, organization strategy, and then of course, in line with also culture and structure, all of these are possible area as well. As you know, at this moment, as an Agile coach, you grow from a Scrum Master team level gradually to multiple team level, being able to work with different departments, different functions, and working at organization. Then in a way, you're more at enterprise level Agile coach. I also notice I have ... because depends on the setup. For instance, a smaller company, you might be able to also work with the board. The board will navigate the company quite a bit left to right. So therefore, that'll be the ... that can be the board. However, if we're working with a company, for instance, Fortune 500 company, most likely not yet exactly to the board. And also the board depends on the company. They can also have a different setup as well. However, there might be different area you need to work with. So in short, to summarize, first is about us on the balancing board. Second one is by traveling to these different areas, we can also see how we can grow ourselves. And that is also why as an Agile coach, it's quite important for us. I always do this, take a broader view at your situation to see currently what is my scope and how can I grow a little bit taller, not physically, hopefully physically maybe also, but more seeing more, so that I can contribute more to my organization, and people and like my organization start to realize the value of having us as well. So that, for instance, I have mentored Agile coaches and managed to make themselves as part of the extended leadership team. And then extended normally is a way to say the core team are the managers and the extended are the key people and so on. And later the E got removed, become part of a leadership team as well. Not managing people, but supporting the organization for growth. So in a way, certainly we rely on human resource to support our company so that they can have the supporting structure in place, so that we really could work with Agile, where we could have empowered, motivated, cross-functional team and all of that. At the same time, for us, we have very special role. As a Scrum Master, Agile coach, is we can find opportunity to grow ourselves. Maybe in your company, you have the role of Agile coach, senior Agile coach, and the next level. However, it's all about really growing yourself to be able to help your company to achieve more and more of business value, so that you grow also, if I say the word like more your coverage, you can travel up, you can travel down as you need to. So that definitely that will be the growth path in short for Scrum Master and also Agile coach. Okay, and now if we open up for some questions. What are some questions and reflections? And then now, given that we have most votes for Agile Coach and also Scrum Master, if I actually do a little exercise as well, and then just now you actually quickly took a look at the exercise, but probably nobody sees so well. Assume as a Scrum Master now, for now only, yeah. As a Scrum Master, your situation is as follows. That is, your team feels they have been having retrospective over a year already, therefore they feel there's no need to have more retrospective. Therefore, they're proposing, dear Scrum Master, can we just have lunch together? We can already rolling into our next sprint already in the afternoon. So then what I like to do is I will put you into a breakout room. And then I would like you to evaluate a little bit, how do you handle this situation? Yeah, so that you could grow yourself from one team and you have more and more, you can grow yourself and can help support more team as well. Yeah. Are we clear with the situation? I'm very sure you have heard that before. Very good, you know, and this, yeah, chop, 20 minutes already. Let's just move on to our next sprint. I have some test cases, you know, I have to do some automation. And so therefore, in a way, maybe slightly different, but rather similar. Yeah. So then if I'll put you into breakout room, 5 minutes. First, certainly, hopefully, if it's convenient for you to turn on your video so that in smaller group setting, you can see each other rather than talking to a dark box. And then you can discuss a little bit, this is a situation, how do we handle it?
Yeah, it's important for you to know that breakout rooms are not being recorded, just so you know. So feel free to openly discuss anything.
That's definitely cool. You will not find yourself on the internet, which is good news.
Just relax.
Okay, so I'm going to put you into a breakout room then. Yeah, so it will be approximately 3 or 4 people per room. And then it's going to be 5 minutes. You will see 5-minute timer when you go in. And then you will also, when it's reached 00, there will be 30 seconds, which allow you to wrap up your conversation, say thank you and say bye to each other. Then we will come back to the main room. Are we all good? Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you for confirming. Then I open.
Evelyn, I'm here. If you need anything, just ask. I'm preparing
I'm good.
follow-up.
They're discussing, and then they're speaking, I think, Serbian, local language.
Yeah,
Let
me see. Yeah, in one group, they're all from Serbia.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's why.
Yeah.
I think it's going great. How you feel?
Thank you. Did you
I'm
get it? Oh,
preparing.
Martin, I was just saying to Martin that usually when this breakout room starts, a lot of people start leaving because nobody.
yeah. So
But yeah, we had a really nice conversation.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, great. Great to hear. Okay, so let's talk about this together. So hopefully all three groups you all agreed. What the team is asking for is not so good. It's good they have lunch together. So that's for team building. That's definitely good. We also know continuous improvement is in the air. So it should be there. And then, so how did you decide to work with it? Which team would like to share? What's your insight?
Well, if you don't mind, we can share our thoughts. Well, I think that, as you said, I mean, if according to the Scrum Guide, this is a mandatory event, retrospective, and my approach would be, well, to ask the team how would they do this reflection and how they continue with this continuous improvement cycle. If they don't have a meeting where they reflect on what was happening in the past 2, 3, or 4 weeks, whatever the sprint length is, then how they be able to do this continuous improvement. So
they will respond. If I just bother you, they will respond. They will say, you know, I've been doing that for a year. I mean, we're really doing quite well.
Yeah, I would be prepared for that, and I would definitely go to history and maybe even go through some retrospective boards, some archives, and I would show them how certain retrospectives brought them to a point where they actually realized that they were doing something wrong, or they even were doing something right, and then they decided to continue doing it. So that would be my approach.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing. And what about other team? What are something possibly we could do? Yeah, Ivana.
Yeah, our idea was a little bit different. We were like, okay, we were like, let's have the lunch and let's do retrospective within the lunch frame.
Okay.
So we would actually offer them, yeah, why not? You know, I don't think it's that important how it's done. Like, you know, where is it in the house? Is it somewhere on the mountain or wherever? As long as the ceremonies themselves are being, you know, followed. So yeah, we could offer even to our team, yeah, why not? You know, let's not skip the actual event. Let's do it just somewhere else within different circumstances. And, you know, let's use that, how to say, loosen atmosphere with the team and go over some items, but not really tell them, yeah, you know, we can skip it totally. So.
Okay, excellent. Also based on neuroscientist research, drinking water, not drinking about anything, drinking water, liquid, and also food that help people to hydrate our brain. So when our brain is very mildly dehydrated, we become relatively more impatient and also negative. If you're curious, you can test yourself tomorrow after you get up. Stop drinking water. You will start to feel, at least for me, I will start to feel a little bit, you know, short-tempered around 11, 12 o'clock, and test it on yourself, but quickly drink some water after. Yeah. So therefore, food potentially can be helpful. Yeah. Greg, what's your thought?
How did I get chosen? Yeah, I think we came to more or less, well, I think we were pretty much pro-lunch with the idea that it's what the team wants, so don't be mean. And also, like I think Ivana was saying, the change of scenery can boost your creativity. Yeah, the food and water, probably also a good idea. You've reminded me that came up in Fearless Change. One of the tricks is to bring food to a meeting and then everybody will love you. But of course, as has also been said, it's not just lunch, of course. It's still a retrospective. You need that structure. Don't let go of that. And of course, one trick is to sort of say, let's try it. See how it goes. If it just turns into a party, we'll probably roll it back. But
very good. So naturally, it will be nice. Certainly, lunch is always good. Yeah. So team building, get to know each other. That's definitely good. At the same time, we can, by asking questions through regular conversation, helps the team to realize we're not there yet. That will be possibly, for instance, using scaling questions. Hey guys, during informal conversation, if the best team you have worked with, you have seen is 10, and then the worst team you ever work with is 1. On the scale of 1 to 10, where do you think we are right now? And as long as not everybody is giving 10, there's always X plus 1. So if they give 8, okay, how can we take a few steps, a little bit moving forward to make that 8 a 9? That would be, for them to realize. Or maybe hypothetically, hey guys, if we were going to repeat our last sprint, what might be one thing either we or you might want to do differently? Maybe now Nicola will say, yeah, I might want to try that differently. Do you see how that can be sort of very informal conversation? So therefore, as you see, that is the part that as Agile coach, it can be very helpful to grow questioning and soft skills from that dimension. Yeah. Very cool. Yeah. And then now if we take another one, we're going to talk about this together. So that is more about facilitating. Assume you're facilitating a workshop among stakeholders of your product. That could be many. And then you see one stakeholder has a lot to say and kept saying da 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 da, keep going. Now, as a facilitator, you noticed that others want to speak. However, they're trying really hard to find opportunity because this person slightly dominating, as you notice, keep talking. Now, as a facilitator, what do you do? What might be something you would like to do?
Maybe ask him a question. I'm sorry to interrupt you. May I ask you a question and then give opportunity to others to maybe just follow up on that question and to tell us what they think.
Excellent.
Maybe that's...
So there are different techniques as a facilitator. I could say, assume Maria, you were the one. If I say, thank you, Maria, for sharing da da da, and then I would like to hear who else have some insights about that topic. Assume now Greg raised his hand. Okay, Greg, you go first. Who would like to be the second? Okay, Martin. Okay, second. Anya, the third. Who else? Assume now nobody, and then Greg goes first. Now, Martin also know I have the second spot and the third. And then even after third, I have spoken, then I can one more time ask, okay, who else would like to share? So that for us as a facilitator, we try to facilitate in a way so that we can hear from everybody. Yeah. So that is, as you see, again, you can use it certainly at team level. You can use it now, grow yourself a little bit using very similar skill you practice. Use it at now product level stakeholders. You can certainly use that when you're working with other leadership team, help them to facilitate a workshop, a learning session, possibly a retrospective as well. Yeah. Very cool. So that's what I want to talk about with regards to Agile Coach. And then given that we have a relatively high vote also on manager, so we just briefly look at manager, yeah, and then we look at one case study only for that. We can also look at that together, yeah, because I know you all worked for the whole day already. So then let's take a look at the manager. So from manager part, as we know that there's a lot of situation that we're facing right now. Normally we say VUCA environment. A lot of things are not the same anymore compared with 50 years ago, compared with 100 years ago. So the context of work and all of that has been different. So therefore, as a good manager, a good leader in general, who do not even have to be a manager, and ideally what happened to be able to cope with this VUCA environment we're working with. In order to do that, it will be definitely very beneficial I can have, for instance, better decision-making and effective actions, and also fast movement as well, and also have a growth mindset. So that in short, as a leader, I could work with my body, work with my mind, so that I can work with my organization, so that my organization also have a flexible body and also adaptive mind. That is the organization strategy part I was referring to. So my organization can benefit, for instance, from Scrum. So we can chop, very flexible and incremental, iteratively working, and respond very fast to the market. Our door is always open to the market and to customer. And also that is about flexibility, like our body. And then there's also the mind about our organization strategy. Maybe we don't have just one product, we have multiple product line, and they are in different stages in their product life cycle. What's our strategy? What do we do? And do we maybe discontinue some product? Maybe we actually invest even more into certain product. Maybe we use the profit from one product, feed the other product. All of these are strategy about organization. So in short, and then to make ourselves flexible as a person, and also our organization that always use yoga. Probably you know this from PlayStation. And then that can be very important. So that is for us working with how can we become more flexible? How can we support our organization? At the same time, also help our organization to be more flexible as well. Yeah. And then if we now look at a case, and then would you like to have a more difficult one or easier one? What do you prefer? How about if we work, given that I think most of you are Agile coaches, I would assume, yeah? So now if we look at this one, you are a group manager, or maybe the manager you're working with, and that person is a group manager, just, you know, first level, and manage about 20, 30 people. And then now what happened? They tend to come to you asking questions. Dear manager, this is my problem, what do I do? And also they expect suggestions and answers from you as well. How do you handle that? Would you like to go back to the breakout room briefly, have a discussion, then you have a more brainstorming and come back, then we can take a look at that together. How do you feel? Yeah, okay, so let's have a, okay, excellent. So then I also recreate, so you get to work with different people as well. So if we put this as a 4.5 minutes, yeah? Okay, so have a good conversation. Who would like to share?
We nominated a spokesperson.
Okay,
Yeah.
excellent. Okay, let's officially see the spokesperson.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Martin. For those who didn't
Let me
have a chance to
spotlight
meet
you.
Yeah, thank you. So we talked a little about this, and Greg's suggestion is what we agreed we should share. So if someone asks you for the answer, for help, the first thing you could do is to tell them, give me 3 things that you tried before you come to me, and then see from there. If they try something, then figure out what can you do next. If they didn't, then empower them to try something and then to come back with the results. And the most important thing that Greg told us, don't be angry if they tried something that you don't like. They're trying. They're trying.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you, the spokesperson. Excellent, thank you. Huh? Okay, anything to add from other rooms? Yeah.
There's only 2 rooms, 2 other rooms, right?
Or
Yeah.
two other, I don't know. Well, I can have from our room if you want. Well, we had a bit of help from Evelyn. So yeah, the first thing would be to have the manager think about why people are coming to him or her to ask these questions in the first place, and then to do like an introspective of his work, and then obviously start empowering people to do the work on their own and see how they can get to the answer. So more or less the same as the other rooms, but yeah, with the previous step of the introspection and work.
Excellent. Yeah, that is, as you see, there's a reason for everything. Possibly, as this might assume, if I were that manager, when you guys are coming to me for questions, I might feel sense of achievement. Look how supportive I am. Do you see? There's a reason for everything. That's why you keep coming to me. You get the answer you need. And maybe you didn't come to me. What Greg was saying, you try something, maybe I get really angry. You see, if you come to me, I would have told you this way. There's a reason for everything. That's why people possibly are coming to me. So therefore, it's that awareness, the mindset shift that's required. So therefore, I think most of us are Agile coaches. It's more, how do you help the manager to start to see the situation better? Similar to the previous part, is more about using our skills on the balancing board to see which part can be helpful. And then it's more about, okay, it would actually be better that way rather than this way. So then I can start, and you can start to help the manager. Is more, what do I do? Possibly, rather than giving, like all of us summarized, rather than giving answers, possibly, what did you see? What did you notice? What did you observe? Start to have that conversation. So then step by step, and then Branislav said that using grow model, eventually we'll be able to use it. Possibly at beginning, still everybody's like, what? Manager changed, doesn't give us answers anymore. So it's more adaptation steps moving forward. Yep. Okay, excellent. And then if we look at one together as well, then we try to do a summary. Yeah. So now if you are a leader of an organization with leading products for years, yeah, but you start to feel more competition all of a sudden. It's not about you, but the product, of course. There are more competitors showing up with the cloud and everything. The entry barrier become lower, so there are more competitor now. And you have a consultant, so your consultant is telling you your organization culture is hindering you, organization's further development. What do I do? So what are some thoughts, insights?
So there's two things.
Oh,
One is the competition and the concern about the competition. And the second thing is this real or apparent problem with the culture. So for the first one, I tell people you shouldn't really be so interested in your competition. You should be more interested in what you're providing to your customers. In that, are you providing the value that they're looking for? And are they able to use that value for their customers, for example? So you stay focused on that rather than looking at what your customers are doing. Having said that, you can use your customers as a learning tool. What is it that people like about them? Is that really the value that my customers would want? Maybe there's something there, but primarily stay focused on, they call it pursue perfection, and never mind your customers, or never mind your competition. Okay, but the culture one, that's tough. And I don't have a quick answer. So I'd be very interested to hear. I've tried basically to change how people are working in such a way that they are more focused on learning and less focused on, say, I don't know, doing whatever they're told to do, and trying to become like scientists, run experiments, with the idea being that what they're trying to do is basically find out what this value thing is that we're pursuing, and then how to get to it. And
then
my hope
probably
is
there might be collision now with the culture Why? Because if the product is leading for many years, most likely as a manager, no matter which level, we have been telling people, follow the process. This is the best way to do it, you see? And then assume, let's say Martin joined our company with a lot of innovative ideas. After we have been telling him, Martin, follow the process, what happened? Follow the process. And then all of a sudden we tell him, hey, Martin, run some experiments. Try something new, do you see? That's where the part of how culture could possibly be helping you, energizing people, possibly could also hinder your organization for further development. So normally I use a metaphor, it's like organization culture, we can almost compare it with to some sort of nature forces, almost like a wind, which is there in the background and sometimes unnoticed. However, sometimes can be very obvious. It's really not helping me at this moment. There's some collision. So therefore, in a way, as we see, if possible for this situation, it will be ideal. The leaders start to reflect a little bit. Okay. And then what is the culture and what will be ideal for the situation we're in right now? And then how is the market situation and so on, what's ideal. So knowing what's the situation we have now, knowing what's ideal would help the leader to be able to, again, realize, okay, particularly we're not talking about one leader, ideally the group leader can be aligned. This is where we are currently, this is where we want to be. It will be ideal, and then start to discuss how to take a step moving forward.
Maybe
So
it's always, I'm sorry for interrupting you. Maybe it's always good to remember why, like to have our mind on the goal. And when we notice that there is a problem achieving that goal, just to stop and to remind the whole team, why are we doing this? And to focus not on the process so much as to on the value that we share.
Definitely, yeah, that'll be the starting point. Instead of start to take action, hey guys, let's change, but rather work with your leadership team so that leadership team are aligned. This is what the feedback we're getting, and what is currently our situation, what will be ideal for us so that the leaders are aligned. Maybe where you want to be now, maybe is exactly where you are physically are already. I have worked with clients and they have a perfect culture. It's like almost very fine, really so little is really not their priority. However, I have also worked with clients who are almost entirely outside where they should be. So having that awareness is more important, trigger their insights, trigger their reflection to be aligned. Okay, this is where we should be. That's ideal for us. And then by doing so, we will be able to be where we want to be. And then they start to come up with a strategy, then how to take the organization step by step. So the strategic part will come in. Yeah. So they're in short also about leaders, managers, and then from traditional different level you grow. Now, if you are a leader and you could start to work and support your people, where your people will need you less and less, instead of making you busy, you can start to take more time to do more strategic thinking, more working at outcome and the vision level so that your organization will take off. And most likely you'll get promoted as well. I have worked with leaders who have been achieving so much, they start to take higher, more responsibilities. Yeah. Okay, great. So that's what I want to talk about. And then what are some questions and insights?
I have a question. Just now you were saying the leaders will need to reflect. But what if the culture is one of accept the status quo? It got us this far. Reflection means doubt. And why would we doubt? Wouldn't that be a bit of a problem? How would people naturally accept this suggestion that they should start to consider change? If, like you say, it's an organization which has for years been successful. Yeah. Is there a trick? I mean, you mentioned, for example, identifying the difference between where you are and where you want to be.
That's why they need us as Agile coaches. So if we work at enterprise level, and then our goal is not to say you need to do this, you need to do that. Rather is more with our help, they can see, this is the situation, so that they have incentive to change. For instance, doing some organization assessment, help them to see this is where you're not exactly where you should be. And so for them to be able to visualize that difference, to feel it. And that is when they start to have incentive, rather than you telling them what they should do, they will approach you to ask you, okay, this is the situation. What do we do? How do we take the step forward? So that is what we want to do. For instance, with regard to, assuming if we continue on the discussion about culture, if you feel going into your client or your organization, start to realize, okay, there's really a collision, using Martin as an example, this is really confusing for people. What do? Then you can now pick one of the tools that you believe can be helpful. For instance, can do assessment on driving culture values to help them to visualize it. There are different tools at organization you can use. The key is about you notice something, and then you can use the tool, so that a tool will help them to visualize, to trigger their interest, trigger their curiosity, then that will open the door for more discussion, for more opportunities for the organization.
Okay.
Okay, great. Okay, so that's pretty much what I have for our discussion. And then I hope you enjoyed the conversation. And then also, I think I know a few of you, but not all of you. So here's my linking contact. And then I just want to show how beautiful Stockholm is. So this is Stockholm. And then, so if you ever come to Stockholm, you know I'm here. And then I have my
Thank you
link.
so much, Evelyn. If there aren't any more questions, I would like to thank you all for taking the time out of your day to hang out a little bit with us. And this was so much helpful, especially I'm the beginner. I'm only starting my, hopefully, Agile career. And this was so helpful. This was amazing. Thank you, Evelyn, so much. And we hope to see you on our next meetup in March.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you all for attending. A really nice meet you online.
Yeah. Thank you so much. We'll see you on our next meetup. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Evelyn.
Thank you, Erin.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Evelyn. Thank
Bye.
you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.